Hi, everybody. I'm Deb Beroset, the influence stylist and founder of Moxie Creative Consulting, which is all about helping you transform from a hidden gem expert into an influential go-to authority, making a big impact. And I'm really excited, very excited today, because not only are we kicking off a series called Conversations with Moxie, which is conversations with people like our guest today, who are influencers and experts who inform and inspire. But today we have with us Tricia Brouk. Now, first of all, hi, Tricia. Welcome.
Thank you, Deb. I'm so excited to be on the Moxie channel.
Well, thank you. Thank you. You got Moxie, so you belong here. I'd like to share with folks a little bit about you so that they can get a sense of who we're in conversation with. So everybody, Tricia Brouk is not only host of the podcast, The Big Talk, where she interviews people who speak for a living. She also has directed people onto 8 TEDx stages. She is an award-winning filmmaker and director. She's worked with a lot of big Hollywood names. Can we name drop a little here, Tricia?
I'll catch them for you.
Okay. Okay. So let's see. James Gandolfini. Let's see. Christopher Walken, Kate Winslet. That's a little sampling. Is that all fair to say?
It's true.
It's true. So, and also, you know, I just want everybody to know that we scooped Sirius Radio. She's being interviewed next week on Sirius Radio, but this week she's on Conversations with Moxie. So anyway, getting direct access to someone with the stature and expertise of Tricia Brouk is really a treat. And I'm really happy to be able to share you and your expertise with the Moxie audience, Tricia.
I am so excited to be talking with you today, Deb.
So I'm going to be firing some questions at you, questions that I know our peeps want to have answers to. Are you ready?
I am so ready.
I know you are. Okay. So for one thing, there's the question, why do this? You know, a lot of people have a fear of public speaking. What's so important about speaking?
Well, I think the fear of public speaking is what prevents people from sharing their very important message and potentially creating global change. My whole thing is, my mission is about helping people who have important things to say and do take big stages and big screens. So I think if you have an important message or a story to share, it's robbing the world if you don't share it. If you want to make a great impact in the world or have impact on others, you must take a stage and speak. If you want to champion a cause or an idea, if you want to raise awareness around a specific organization, if you want to raise money for your favorite charity, it's time to start talking about it. And if you want to sell your book, simply getting on a stage and talking about what your book is about and getting people excited with your keynote so that you can have this companion talk with your book as authors is why you need to take big stages. The other part of this that people forget, Deb, is that when you're an entrepreneur or a consultant at any company and you're asked to talk about what it is that you're doing, what it is that you're selling, what product you're offering, if you don't know how to articulate and walk onto that stage and inspire instead of pitch, your productivity, your income, it's all going to be impacted. So I truly believe that we all need at some point to understand what it means to speak. And whether it's on massive stages like Tony Robbins or whether it's on a panel at a small conference, all of the content and information that you are sharing with those people will directly impact them. And that's why I think speaking is so important.
That's great. That's great. Now, you know, a lot of the people that I deal with are coaches, consultants, and other change makers, right? And one of the things that I've been asked about is, you know, how speaking leads to new business or clients.
When you take a stage, whether it's a keynote at an organization or a TEDx all over the world, you elevate your credibility instantaneously. You are the expert speaking from the stage, sharing your important ideas. Therefore, we see you differently. So when you begin to incorporate speaking with your business, You've just raised the level of your game.
Mm. Now, you mentioned to me about somebody you knew who got a really big consulting gig out of speaking. Is that right?
Absolutely. Mari Carmen Pizarro, who is a longtime client and dear friend of mine, she and I were working on her keynote, which was after we had worked on a TEDx together. So we continued to work, but in the different direction of speaking. And while we were working on what it meant to bridge the gap of cultural leadership, she's a Latina woman from Puerto Rico who works with leaders in white corporate America. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about how to bridge this cultural leadership gap. And when we were in the middle of writing this keynote, she landed 2 6-figure consulting jobs. And the reason that she did that, and she shared this with me, the reason she believes she did that is because we had done so much research on what the talk was about. And we got so dialed in on what it is she was going to express about this idea of bridging the gap in cultural leadership. So she was able to walk into a room and just inspire people to hire her on the spot. So that's why the process of speaking, the process of writing your keynote and your TEDx, it takes you to a new place as an entrepreneur.
I love that. I love that it kind of leaks into everything you're doing when you work on a talk like that. It has you more confident speaking about your business in an elevator, the stereotypical elevator pitch even, right?
Absolutely. You become so much more fine-tuned in what it is that you're trying to express about the idea. So you're no longer saying you need to buy this because it goes to the idea. And that's what people get excited about. The idea is what's sexy, not the product.
That's really great. Now, a lot of people are nervous about public speaking. I know it's one of the top fears that people report having, right? So how do you help people deal with nerves?
This is a great question. One of the things that I talk about specifically is that when you have an idea worth spreading or an idea that you need to share with the world, if you put your focus on that, you will get past the nerves. You will not remove the nerves. You might work through the nerves, but really thinking about why it is you must share your idea will give you the confidence to then move toward the nerves. Once you've moved toward the nerves, it's all about rehearsal. You have to rehearse over and over and over again. And that means in front of people. The biggest mistake a speaker could make is to rehearse by themselves in front of the mirror. Because there's no stress. There's no stakes. So you have to create mild stress. Start off with mild stress, which is in front of your family. They're not going to judge you. If you mess up or forget, they're not going to make fun of you. And then increase the stress. Start to rehearse, start to deliver the talk in front of your colleagues. And then increase the stress a little bit more. Because our bodies, I guarantee you, will betray you. You're going to get a dry mouth. You're going to get sweaty. You're going to have butterflies in your stomach. So if you've never given the talk under those circumstances, you don't know what's going to happen to your mind. You might start thinking, my hands are shaking. I don't know what my talk is about. So you must rehearse under mild stress, increasing the stress slowly so that you know what to do when you're in front of 50, 100, 1,000 people. And the part about not rehearsing alone is super important. Do the talk in front of as many people as possible. One of my speakers at TEDx Lincoln Square, in the cab ride over to the theater, she did the talk from top to bottom to the cab driver. And it was just another opportunity for her to do this in front of another human being and have those nerves settle.
That just reminds me, I don't know if I mentioned that you also happen to be the executive producer of TEDx Lincoln Center, New York City, right?
You were right the first time, Lincoln Square. Yeah.
Lincoln Square. Okay. So when you are working with people, do people come to you sometimes and say, I'm an introvert, I don't think this is for me?
Most speakers are introverts. Christina Hallett is on right now. I see her beautiful face.
Oh, hi. One
of my Speaker Salon superstars. And she's probably one of the few extroverts who I've worked with. And she's just stunning on stage and incredibly smart and so comfortable. That's not always the case. I have many speakers who are terrified and they're very shy, but what I try to do for them is remind them the idea is what's important. So focus on the idea that you're sharing and get the focus off of yourself. You have to focus on the idea and the audience, and then you can let go of the they're going to think I'm dumb, what I'm saying is stupid, all of that self-judgment that comes in.
Yeah. I've heard that our brains are wired to avoid risk, but our brains also enjoy the pleasant cocktail of providing value in that experience. And it sounds like that's what you're talking about, is to focus on that.
That's a really great point, Deb. Yes, the value that you're going to share with the world by taking the risk of having fear outweighs your personal fear.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. So talk to us a little bit about what it takes to be a captivating speaker.
It's so interesting, this question, because there's this sort of mysterious, ethereal, what makes people captivating? Why do some people have charisma and some people don't? Well, that's a great question. And I do believe some of us are born with charisma. Some of us have to work for it. But with regards to becoming a captivating speaker, there are techniques that you can use to create that feeling from the stage every single time, even if you're having a bad day, even if you're tired, even if you're jet lagged. And I'm going to share what those are. So the first thing, know who you are as a speaker. Don't walk up there and pretend to be somebody you think we want you to be, because that's going to come across as false. And we're going to turn off. We're going to stop listening. We're going to have this weird feeling that we don't know why we don't trust you, but we just don't. So never try to pretend to be anyone except who you are. Own that, love that, embrace that.
Great.
The second thing is I want you to think about speaking with authority, but also with a little bit of vulnerability. Many times experts take a stage and they're really, really passionate and really, really smart about the content. What ends up happening is they come across smarter than anyone else in the room, which is not what their intention is, but then we think, well, I guess I'm too dumb to understand this content, or B, they're so passionate that it comes across as angry. And then we're like, oh my gosh, okay, I can't, I have to turn off. So when you are the expert and you have authority, put a little bit of vulnerability in there. And how you can do that is by starting with a personal story. Something that you can share with us about you that shows us you're vulnerable and relatable and another human being. And then the third thing is, and this is where the technique comes in, know what you want from your audience and how you're going to get it. And I teach this, and it's objective in action, and it's what I use with my actors, it's what I use with my speakers. For example, if you want your kids to go to bed, or you want your spouse or your partner to take out the trash, those are objectives. How you're going to do it is the action. So if I want my kids to go to bed, I could bribe them, I could nag them, I could seduce them. Well, that's more like partner taking the trash out. I could sweet talk them. So if you know the objective that you want from your audience and how you're going to get it, when they're not paying attention and they've turned off and they've gone to their cell phones or they're yawning, you know that what the action you're using is not working. So you have to pivot. And sometimes people call this tactics. You have to change your tactics. If you know that you are not getting your objective, which is for the audience to adopt your idea as their own or to donate to your favorite cause, switch your action so that you can get that objective. That is how you can be captivating and how you use technique to be captivating.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. That's cool. That is cool stuff. So when it comes to the topic, like if someone's interested in speaking because they really want to support their business and they want to share some of their expertise and value with an audience, is there any advice you have about how to choose the right topic?
I think the first thing one needs to consider is if you're passionate about the topic. It looks like Robin Myers is on. Hi, Robin. If you are speaking so that you can, amazing. If you're speaking so that you want to drive business to your company, that's a valid reason to speak. If you want to drive business to your book launch, to your book sale, that is a valid reason to speak. But what's most important is that when you are sharing this information, it comes from a place of belief, a place where you are seriously passionate about the information that you are sharing, not just the dollar signs. Because that's a great outcome if your book gets sold, but it's really got to start from the idea and from the place of passion. And again, when you walk on stage and you're not being yourself, people don't trust you. They don't know why, but they just don't. It's the same thing if you're going up on stage and your ultimate goal is to raise money for yourself. If your goal is to raise money for another company or for an organization that you believe in, that is something we can talk about passionately without feeling weird about, right?
Right,
So
right,
it's
right.
the same thing. Start with the idea, start with the passion.
Okay, that is great. Now, another thing that I know people wonder about is the difference between a TEDx and a keynote.
These are great questions. They're very different. For anyone who wants to learn from the master what a TED and a TEDx talk, it's TED Talks, The Ultimate Guide to Public Speaking by Chris Anderson. He is eloquent and so beautifully descriptive in this book about what a TED and a TED Talks, what a TED and a TED Talk are. They are an art form. They're a different beast completely. So let me start with Keynote. Thank you, Christina. Keynotes are usually teaching tools. There's a clear call to action at the end. They run 45 to 60 minutes long. They definitely start with an introduction of the material. You set up what we're going to talk about. You hit all those key points, and then you wrap it up, and there's a call to action. A TEDx is a gift, not an ask. It's an idea, not an issue. And you want the audience to adopt your idea as their own at the end of the experience. So there might be a call to action to think differently, but there's not necessarily a call to action as to write me a check or buy my book. It's really a thought. Let's think differently as human beings. That's the big differences between a keynote and a TEDx.
Okay. And a lot of the people that I work with, that is exactly the kind of thing that they want to be doing. They are change makers. And I know that's true of a lot of people you work with too. So how does somebody know, oh, by the way, there's, Robin and Christina and, talking about how helpful you are and how basically you are phenomenal at supporting and mentoring. So obviously there are people who are raving fans. That's how I learned about you, actually, Tricia, was raving fan Janet Zareski. So how do you know you're ready to take the stage?
I think if you dream about it, if you are afraid to say it out loud, and if your big talk is on your bucket list, it's time to move it onto the to-do list. If you dream about making a difference in the world by sharing your message, if you are afraid to say it out loud because then you'll have to follow through, and if you've been thinking about it but haven't really made it come to fruition, that's when you know it's time. There's never perfect time. You have to start. You have to choose to start writing. You have to choose to start coming to events where you can speak. You have to choose to surround yourselves with people like Robin and Christina, who have formed this incredible community with the New York Speaker Salon. The support of other speakers, the support of a mentor. I have seen so many speakers become who they are meant to be. They walk onto stage one way and walk off another. And that's why I do this, Deb, because I get to watch people become bright lights and make impact on other people and the world. And that's what this is all about.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I come at it from a different direction, but I can totally relate to that. It's fantastically fulfilling, right?
It is, yeah.
And it's also the case that a lot of people launch major careers from talking. But here's the thing: if all those categories that you just listed, where you have this sort of nagging idea, you've got this fire in your belly, it's on the bucket list, for all of you out there who you heard yourself in what Tricia just said, I've got some really great news for you, that I'm very excited that Tricia is coming to Chicago in just a few weeks. Woo, 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 right?
Yes.
We're doing Speaker Salon Chicago. She's leading the workshop. I'm hosting. And why don't you tell us a little bit about what is in store for the folks who are going to be in that Speaker Salon?
I would love to. I'm so excited to come to Chicago. I'm from the Midwest, so I'm super excited. The salon in Chicago is going to be an accelerated version of what I do with my speakers here in New York City. Because we're in a weekend event and it's not 6 or 8 weeks of us spending time together, I'm going to give you as much material as I can without completely overwhelming you. So we're going to talk about ideas. We're going to work on content and delivery. And because all of the speakers are in the same room the entire time, watching each other take the stage, watching each other take direction from me, there's going to be direct feedback, and the observational learning from being in the audience is equally, if not more valuable than taking the stage. But within those 2.5 days of being together, every speaker will have an opportunity to get on stage multiple times, practice material, work on delivery. I will direct them with regards to performance. I will give them feedback on their content. We're going to talk about ideas. And at the end of all of this, I'm going to have dinner with you all, and we're going to pull back the curtain on what it takes to be a TEDx speaker. And the reason that I love doing that is because there's so much mystery surrounding TED and TEDx. And I've been an organizer for 2 years now. I'm coming into my 3rd event. And yes, Christina, you learn so much from watching other people speak. It's amazing. It's one of my favorite things to observe, is watching the speakers witness their amazing colleagues. And you can also steal what's good and not do what's bad. Those are things too that you have to really think about. So I'm going to pull back the curtain on TEDx. We're going to talk about the best way to apply, how to vet us, because I also believe it's really important that you know who you are getting involved with and what kind of a stage you are taking, because there's so many variations on TEDx's and TEDx organizers. And so I'm going to spend the entire weekend supporting all of the speakers. You are one of them. I cannot wait to work with you, and really getting as dialed in as possible with any amount of content, whether it's a keynote, whether it's an opening to a new talk, whether it's a presentation you have to give at an upcoming panel. Anything and everything is on the table for us to work on together. And I will be working with you all just like I do my actors and my speakers. It's a safe environment where we get to play, we get to take risks, we get to fall down and get back up.
Well, I'll be right in there falling down and getting back up. Now, one of the things I'm just going to put out there right now, I don't have a talk ready, right? I don't have a talk. I do have an intention to do a TEDx talk in 2019, putting it out there right now, putting it out there.
Amen.
And, all right. And I don't have a talk. So what do you have to say for those of us coming to the Speaker Salon who don't have that talk in hand?
This is where the magic happens. I'm
magic.
going to put you up on stage.
Yes.
And I'm going to prompt you with questions. And I'm going to have you improvise a conversation with me in front of all the other speakers. Exactly. Did you get a little nervous?
Yes, I'm feeling the butterflies.
Right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, in that place of complete rawness and nakedness, I promise magic happens. And I've seen it happen over and over again. So if you don't have a talk, or you don't have an idea, or you have too many, this is the place for you to come, because I'm going to be able to help fine tune and guide you so that when you leave this weekend, you are going to have so much energy around a really specific idea that you can take anywhere.
Okay. That's gold. That is gold. I'm really excited. I'm a big believer in magic and serendipity. So bring that on. The other thing, excuse me, the other thing I want to make sure to mention that's special about the Speaker Salon Chicago is that we are booked at Soho House for a member event on Friday evening, the 17th of August. And you're going to be, I'm going to be interviewing you about what it is to be a fearless speaker. And that is only open to Soho House Club members during their performance themed month. And anybody who's in the Speaker Salon Chicago will be a guest at that event on Friday night. Plus, as I recall, you said you were taking us all out to dinner at some
Absolutely. We're going to talk about ideas after that. After that Q&A, we're going to have a beautiful meal together and talk ideas.
Yeah, that's going to be just a wonderful way to start the weekend, get to know each other, and get in that whole speaker world. And anything you want to add just about the fact that, I've been told, Tricia, and I've experienced it myself, that once people are in your orbit, you are just the most generous person about sharing connections and networking and all that. You put me in touch with the brilliant Jamie Broderick. That's very cool. Do you just want to say a little bit about your philosophy on that?
Thank you for saying that. I feel very strongly that we are all here to make a difference in the world, and there's plenty to go around. And if we can continue to stay open to amazing human beings coming in our lives, then we should also be willing to share those human beings with other people. So I love making introductions to any and every TEDx organizer that I've met. I go to TED Fest every year, and I'm constantly making introductions. I believe in the collective of helping and holding each other up. And that's what I do on a set with my crew. It is, I believe, why I get so much shit done.
Yeah.
And it's also about leaning on the people that you can trust, who you know have your back. And so, yes, I'm all about sharing my orbit with everyone.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And, I just wanted to acknowledge that and thank you, and also share with everybody that that's the kind of human being you're going to get to be with if you come to the Speaker Salon in Chicago. So, and there are limited spots. It's a maximum of 15 people so that everybody gets plenty of that individual attention and magic you're talking about, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm going to put in the comments below this, I'm going to put a link to the page where people can go for more information and to register. You're also free to contact me, Deb, at itstimeformoxie.com. I'm happy to have a chat with anybody who's interested. Come one, come all, play with us. I'm going to be in there. I promise you, I'm going to be mixing it up with everybody else. And it is time for Moxie, right?
Absolutely. One more thing I want to just share with everybody, Deb. It's going to take place at the Hotel Monaco, the beautiful Affinia Hotel in Chicago. So it's going to be a great venue. We're there all day. So we have lunch there. We have dinner there. You don't have to worry about the stress of leaving and going and coming. It's all going to be taken care of for you. Yeah,
it's a beautiful, sexy little boutique hotel you picked out. So thanks for that. I love that environment. We're going to be so cool. It's going to be so fun. And I also understand that people make great new friends when they do this and form new communities, which is, phenomenal. I'm always up for that.
Absolutely. It's a really inspiring and vulnerable experience that you come out being completely new. And that's what I love observing.
All right. That's great. Well, thank you again so much for being here, Tricia. I can't wait to be with you in person in about 2 or 3 weeks.
I know. Oh, do we say the dates? It's August 17th through the 19th.
That's right. And on the 17th, it starts in the afternoon at 4:30. So you can still work on Friday and just cut out early to come.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. All right. Thank you. And I will talk to you soon, Tricia. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Deb.